Hey guys, and welcome back for another video. Today I'd like to talk to you about yet another new add-on for Guild Wars 2, this time pertaining to swapping mounts. Now you can obviously swap mounts the good old-fashioned way, or you can set a keybind for each one of these mounts, but it's a little less than ideal. With this add-on, you will have to individually bind each mount, but once you're done, you'll never have to think about those binds again. When all is said and done, you'll be able to access every mount with one customizable key. For this video, I'll show you how to install and set up this add-on, and if you hang around until the end, I just have one quick update with GW2Hook that I want to address. So if you're running that from one of my earlier videos, maybe hang around. Alright, so now on to the installation. If you don't have any current Guild Wars 2 add-ons, this is a very easy installation. Just head over to the link down in the description, scroll all the way down, and go ahead and download this guildwars2_mounts.zip. Once you've got those files, you should have this readme and this d3d9.dll that you're probably familiar with from previous guides that I've made, or maybe you've installed some other add-ons on other games in the past. For this installation, all we're going to need to do is head over to the Guild Wars 2 directory, take this d3d9.dll, and put it in the bin folder. And that's it, guys. That's the entire installation. Now, let's say you want to add this to, say, Guild Wars 2 Hook and maybe build templates or arc DPS in some way. You can do that. There is a little bit of work you'll have to do to make it work, but it's not actually all that difficult. So let's just go ahead and pull over this folder, and this should look pretty much on point with where we left off with the last video. You've got your d3d9.dll for Reshade, renamed Reshade64, and this d3d9.dll here is ArcDPS. Now, in order to make this work, as we can't pull two files of the same name into the same folder, we're actually going to have to rename this yet again. This time, it'll be d3d9_mchain.dll. Once you've done this, you can actually just pull down the new d3d9.dll, and now all should work when you open up Guild Wars 2. Alright guys, so we're back in game, and I do just want to take a quick moment to kind of show you guys that these all three do run together. I currently have Guild Wars 2 Hook. As you can see, that's quite a big difference there. If we want to bring up Arc DPS, we can do that. But what we're trying to do here is actually set up the mounts. So go ahead and hit escape, go to options, go to control options, and we're looking for the mounts themselves. All right. So as far as your mount dismount is concerned, you need to unbind that all together. If you guys didn't know, you can actually individually bind each one of the mounts. And that's what we're going to do, only rather than picking things that we can easily get at, we're going to pick some things that we would probably never hit. So what I ended up using is the up arrows, well, the up, left, right, and down arrows. Just get those set up. And obviously that won't work all the way around the board here, so I'm going to do shift up for the last one. And I recommend keeping this window open and just kind of pulling it off to the side. The keyboard shortcut to bring up the mounts panel is Shift, Alt, and M. So what we need to do first is set each one of these mounts. So what we're going to do is just make sure that those match. So click set. You might actually end up using some of these as you do it. Let's see, Springer. Alright, so we got all of those set up, which is great. Right here, we need to pick what key we would like to actually activate our little menu that'll pop up here. So I use Q for mine. If I can Q, there we go. Alright, so you also have these three options right here. The first one is to enable or disable the Griffin. And I would recommend doing this if you don't have a Griffin. Just go ahead and disable it like that. just to save yourself a little bit on the UI. The next one is in relation to where this thing pops up. If you leave reset cursor to center with center locked keybind, it'll always appear in the center of the screen, and your mouse will always default to the middle of the screen. Go ahead and uncheck that if you'd like it to pop up wherever your mouse currently is. Personally, I like it to show up in the middle because it's much easier to make selections, and that's also why I lock the camera overlay, or I lock the camera when the overlay is displayed. So once you've got all of this set up, you can go ahead and close out of each one of these, and you should test it to make sure that it works. Looks like, for me at least, it's gonna work. Holding down Q is the key that I set. Will make sure that each one of these mounts is selectable, and by picking one, obviously it's not going to switch into that if I'm already mounted, but as you can see, you can switch between your mounts pretty quickly. And I really like the overlay that they put together here. I think the work that they did on it to make it kind of look like it belongs, at least, was totally worthwhile. The only thing I will say is that to mount and dismount is a little weird, because you're going to be basically mounting up like this, and then you're going to tap that same button once real quick to make it go away. You still see that UI, which is a little weird, but I mean that's a very small gripe when considering how easy it is to swap between these. Also, assuming you guys are still watching this guide, I did want to make a quick note about GW2Hook for any of you guys out there using it. Hit Shift F2 to open up the GW2Hook UI, and under Guild Wars 2 settings, go down to where it says Fog Amount. I would recommend changing this value from 0, if yours happens to be 0, to 1. Definitely don't increase it higher than 1. I mean, unless you're bored and you just want to see what it'll do, but I wouldn't recommend playing the game that way. Basically, what I've encountered is there is a fair amount of visual effect in Guild Wars 2 that just gets completely destroyed by making this value 0. Now, obviously, you could pick a number between 0 and 1, depending on how much you'd like to see, but I had been noticing that in my recordings and in my gameplay, I was seeing a lot more of the map, which was cool, but the things that I was seeing far off looked pretty terrible. And that is because this game is designed to render things as you get closer to them, and so you basically just get to see a bunch of really crappy textures and things that just aren't loaded for you yet. And it kind of killed a little bit of the Guild Wars 2 environment that I love so much. Changing this value to 1, however, pretty much put it back to where it was. I might still tone this down, but just as a little bit of something for you guys out there using this to keep in mind. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. I just wanted to tell you guys about the new mount swap add-on, how to get that running with some of the other stuff that I am currently running on my client, and even though this isn't a guide about Guild Wars 2 Hook, it is sort of part of the same series, and so I'm hoping that a few of you guys out there see this and maybe make some adjustments if things looked a little off. Anyway guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope this helps somebody out there, and I'll see you in the next one.